Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Rittner of the Rittner Floral School in Boston, Mass. It's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today because we've got a really interesting presentation for you. One of the things that designers are often looking for is a different look to their designing. Something a little bit different, something a little unusual. Well, in doing some interesting wedding designing, consider, if you will, some of the great Israeli product that's now coming into our market. We've got some incredible materials that have been brought in by Blooming of Beloit in Beloit, Wisconsin, from Israel. They're absolutely incredible, and they give a very, very neat look to our designs. Let's start with this bouquet, for example. Here we've got a round bouquet, which is a classical kind of shape. But notice it's the ingredients on this that make this very, very interesting. There's some very neat materials that are going into this bouquet. Starting off with this stuff. This is called green trick Dianthus. Green trick Dianthus, brought in from Israel. Isn't it incredible? It's a very, very durable product. Very, very durable. It's got very interesting texture to it. Holds up very, very well. And the green trick Dianthus has worked very, very nicely into this design. The foliage that is being used to create a doily effect around this design, variegated pittosporum, also an Israeli product. It's beautiful stuff, gives a very, very nice effect. And of course, you never can go wrong with this stuff, Lisianthus. Lisianthus is absolutely gorgeous, and some of the product coming in now from Israel in a wide variety of colors really gives a cool effect. So notice some Lisianthus worked in here. Mixing it in with some of these, Hypericum berries. Hypericum is also now being imported from Israel. It gives a very cool effect. Whenever you want to come up with a new and interesting effect in your designing, you never can go wrong with Hypericum berries. And then, of course, we've got our Israeli variegated pit, our Lisianthus, our Hypericum, and our trick Dianthus mixed in with our ever-popular roses. It gives a really, really pretty effect. It's a gorgeous bouquet. Very simple and yet very, very effective in coming up with a new kind of look to our designing. Well, let's see, what else can we come up with? Because there are some other very, very interesting materials that are now coming in. Here's another example. I think you're going to really find this one kind of fun and funky too. This is another bridal bouquet making use of some great materials that are now being brought in from the Holy Land. And you'll notice that we've got some really, really cool things in here. Of course, we have our non-Israeli product, our roses, our mini gerbera, which always work well in designing. But again, we're making use of our variegated pittosporum here. And I know that our staff has been incredibly enthusiastic in terms of working with these materials because the variegated pittosporum gives a very distinct kind of texture. Our Lisianthus, of course, worked in here, also gives a very, very pretty effect. It's coming available, of course, in our blues and our violets as well. And there's another product here that we're playing with that I think you'll really enjoy. This is Ornithogalum. It's called the Ornithogalum Dubium. It's coming in orange and also yellow. We've got some yellow variety right over here and in here. Gives a really cool effect. But the one thing that we haven't mentioned that is really especially interesting in this design is this stuff. Isn't this stuff incredible? Notice it's here, it's all around this thing, it's in the middle. It's really cool stuff. This particular product is called Green Bell or Pennycress. My understanding is it's in the mustard family. It's sold as a filler, but notice it stands on its own. And it's giving us an incredible effect. What could be a very, very average, everyday kind of round bouquet now becomes extra special when you start playing with a pennycress and you're working it around in a circle and mixing it through the middle of the design. It really adds a very kind of wild, untamed look. It gives a very, very pretty effect. It's a very good keeper, and it is available again throughout the year from the folks at Blooming of Beloit, Beloit, Wisconsin. A wonderful import from Israel. I'm looking forward to using more of this stuff through the year because it just gives such an incredible result as far as our bouquet work. Okay, let's take a look at another possibility in terms of bridal bouquet work using some of the incredible Israeli products that we have available to us. Isn't this an interesting one? Isn't this an interesting one? Again, making use of some of these really, really neat materials. Let's start in the middle. Looking in the middle, you've got some absolutely gorgeous things. We have, of course, some ranunculus in this design, but in addition to that, we also have some of our Lisianthus Lisianthus is mixed in here. Our ranunculus is here. We've got some roses here. You'll notice the Ornithogalum Dubium that's mixed into the design as well. It's absolutely stunning. It gives a really, really cool effect in terms of the mixture of some of these different flowers. But there's another product here that is especially neat that, quite frankly, when we saw this come in for our designing shoot on this, we were blown away with. This stuff is called Kochia. It is sold as a foliage. The thing that I like about it is that it's got a very distinctive color. It is a silvery white color. There are very few things that are available in this kind of silvery white color, and it absolutely is great. The thing I like about it, and I think you can see very, very nicely in this design, is that Kochia can be used incredibly effectively as a frame around other colored flowers. In other words, look at this. We've got all these different colors here. It all works nicely together with our ranunculus, with our Ornithogalum Dubium, our roses, our Liz and so forth, our Lisianthus. But by placing some of this Kochia around it and creating a frame to our design, it makes everything pop out and stand out all that much better. It creates far more drama because of the contrast of the silver with the various chroma that we have inherent in the design. I get very enthusiastic about this because this is a very, very neat design trick. Try it, play with it. You're going to find it's going to do really wonders for you, and I can see this being applied not only in bridal bouquet work but also in our vase arrangement and other kinds of designing. It is a wonderful material, and I think you're really going to enjoy playing with it if you haven't played with it up to the present time. So what do you think, my viewer? Interesting, huh? We've got some very, very interesting ideas for you here. I hope that you enjoyed coming in and visiting with us briefly here at Rittner's Floral School in Boston, Mass. On behalf of the staff and students at Rittner Floral School, I'm Dr. Steve Rittner. It was a pleasure having you come in and visiting with us briefly to see some ideas on taking some of these incredible Israeli materials and incorporating them into some of your bridal designing. We hope that you enjoyed this brief presentation. We thank you for coming in and visiting with us today.